this morning. Hopefully, you've had a great July so far. You got to spend some time with your family. Also, during the 4th of July, that you got to celebrate our country's independence. However way you do that. I slept, so that was great. That was awesome. That's what I needed. We last week we weren't here at church here in this facility because we were at the pool, and then the week before that I was away at camp, at FCA camp, which was great. Which we had 3 of our youth from here that went, and they had a great time, and they got to see a lot of kids give their life to Christ or rededicate their life to Christ or even make a decision for themselves. If it's not to follow Christ, but to say, I'm anchoring my foundation in Christ even more so. So that was great. And then last week we were at BSR Pool and we were able to baptize 2 little ones. And so if you weren't there, if you missed it, we do have a picture to show of the 2 dads baptizing their children, which was awesome. They made their own declaration of faith publicly as being followers of Jesus Christ. And so we here at Blue City Church, I don't have to do the baptism. Jason doesn't. It's the person, as the Bible says in Matthew 28, therefore go and make disciples, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It doesn't say the pastor do that. It says for us, all of us. So we give the opportunity to have the person who's being baptized, to have that person say who they would like to. And so the dads were able to baptize their own children, which is awesome. So if you missed it, there's those 2. If you want to look at the actual video, it's on Facebook. Joe Turpin and Chelsea Minton have it, or the moms have it. The dads don't really have it. I checked. The dads didn't put their kids on their Facebook page, which is kind of like, come on, dads. But the moms made sure it was captured and it's for the world to see. So is it on yours, Marty? No. Joe's on yours? Okay, exactly. But the dads did it, though. The dads did it. the dads did it. But that was last week, and so now we're starting a new series entitled The Way, which is going to, as Jason said, it's on John 14:6. We're going to be camped out in that verse for the next 3 weeks. So you should have it memorized by the time we're done in the month of July, what this verse says and what it means to you in your foundation as being a Christian. Because today we're going to look at probably the most controversial of the I am statements that Jesus said that we saw in the video. And before we do that, I want us to look at context of what Jesus was saying in John chapter 14. So you look on your Bibles, in your device, it's going to be on the screen as well. I encourage you when you come to church to take notes, either in your phone or in your own device, your own paper. We don't provide paper, but take some notes that goes with you. When you write it down, it resonates within you a little bit more than you just listening to me or you just seeing it on the screen. And so this is your opportunity to take notes throughout the sermon, not just this one, but as we go forward in this series. But it says this in John 14, verse 1 through 5. It says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled." This is Jesus talking to his disciples. He says, "Trust in God. Trust also in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, I would not have told you. I'm going there to prepare a place for you." Going there means he's going to heaven. "And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, and you also may be where I am. And you know the way to the place where I'm going." And Thomas says to Jesus, says to him, "Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way?" And Jesus replies this in John 14:6. "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Jesus makes this bold claim that he is the only way to the Father and to heaven. The only way. So the context, Jesus knows that he's about to give his life as ransom for the world, for our sins, for the sins of the world. So he's trying to let his disciples, he's letting them know that he's not going to be here and he's going to leave because he needs to prepare a place for them. He needs to go to their Father, back to the Father, and prepare a place for them for when they get to heaven. And he says, "You know the way to heaven. You know where I'm going, and you know the way." And Thomas here is doubting Thomas again. You see him in other parts of the Gospels saying, "I don't know the way. How do we know the way? We don't know where you're going, so how do we know the way?" And Jesus says, "You know the way because I am the way." And this statement is a bold one. this statement is the most probably one of the most controversial statements of the I am statements. So as we're camped out in this verse and fully understand it, we are going to make a distinction between those who call themselves Christians and those who call themselves followers of Jesus Christ. Because the idea is for you not to be a checkbox Christian, not when you fill out an application or a survey, the census that's going to be coming out, and they ask you for your religious affiliation, and you check Christian. We don't want you to be a Christian checkbox. We want you, our vision here is for you to be a fully devoted follover of Jesus Christ. And what's that mean? Because some Christians believe something totally different than those who say, I'm a true follower of Christ. So this verse, understanding this verse, is going to help us say, I'm a follower of Christ, and I'm a fully devoted follower of Christ. So as we break down this verse, I thought we could, as a church, we already had some help with the video if you were here, to go through the 7 I am statements that Jesus said. So Jesus said, I am 7 times. And so as a church, as all of us together, I'm not saying this rhetorical, everyone, so you need to participate. I want to go through all of them. Don't put up the picture yet, Jairus or Jonathan, whoever's back there, because I can't see. Let's go through all 7. So we're going to do popcorn style. I'm actually talking to you, church people. Let's shout out the 7 I am statements as you know them. Let's see if we can get through all 7 in about a minute. So ready, go. Let me hear you. I am the way. I'm the bread of life. No, that's not one of them. The shepherd. I'm the way. What? No. I am the vine. Nope. Got 2 more. I am that one. Not a door, but start with a G, a gate. And there's one more. Start with the R. Resurrection. I am the resurrection. So these are the 7 I am. There's other, Jesus says I am, the other things, but these are like claim to the 7 I am statements. I'll run through them. There's a picture on the screen as well. It says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the vine. I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the gate. I am the good shepherd, and I am the resurrection. Those are the 7 statements of Jesus saying, even though he's saying I am, he also says I am that I am when they asked him, and they're like, they went and they tore their clothes, the Pharisees and stuff. But these are the I am 7 statements. And the one we're camped out in, I believe, is the most like, this is where you have to make your distinction of who Jesus is to you. Because he's saying here, I am the only way. He can say, I'm the gate, and you're like, okay, I'm the gate. Well, I'm the door. Like somebody, like you can say, I'm the light of the world. Okay, you're like, but you're saying you're the only way to heaven? Hold on. What? Hold on. What? That statement has a lot of weight to it, and it should. It should in our life. Paul says this. He claimed the same thing about Jesus in Acts 4:12. It says, salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to men by which we must be saved. No other name than Jesus Christ. This statement here was very controversial in Jesus' day, but even more so, I believe, in our current day. See, Christians are often embarrassed in public places. I don't know if you've ever been put on blast, or somebody try to point you out, or someone try to put you down because you claim to be a follower of Christ, because you claim that Jesus is the only way. I know I have from middle school all the way up to now, that people will embarrass you. People will try to put you down because you confess Jesus is the only way to eternal life, the only way to heaven. See, it seems that many of us would say, or many people will say that we're very, very, very narrow-minded if we have that belief. And we must remember that when we make this claim, we're not making this claim out of our own opinion. We're making a claim of fact. We're making a claim of quote of Jesus Christ himself. It's not something that we wished and thought up in our own heads. It is straight from Jesus' mouth. The words are written down that he says that he is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. So the way, the statement, the way, really defined as this: the only road or the only path to God. When Jesus says, I am the way, and he's telling the disciples and he's telling Thomas that The only way to God is through me. I am that way to God. When Jesus says that he is the way, he's referring to the way you walk on a path, on a way to righteousness. If you want to be seen right in God's eyes, if you want to be seen righteous before the Lord, you have to walk my way. You have to come through me. He is saying this, not only he's the only road or path to God, but he's saying he's the path to righteousness and holiness. It says it like this in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, Isaiah 30:21 says, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. I love this verse. It says, regardless if you go to the right or you go to the left, you will hear this voice in the back of your head. You will hear this voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. That is the Holy Spirit within us. That is Jesus speaking to us. That's Jesus leading us. And so regardless of the circumstances you're walking in, regardless of what you're going to have this voice. For those who are committed followers of Christ, for those who have the Holy Spirit, you're going to hear this voice saying, this way, that way. Say this, don't say this. Give that, don't give that. Join this conversation, leave this conversation. Look at that, don't look at that. You're going to have this voice. It's up to us to say, I follow that voice. I lean into that voice. It also says this in Isaiah 35:8. A highway will be there, and it will be called the way of holiness. This is Jesus. Jesus is the highway. Jesus is the way to righteousness and holiness. It continues to say, the unclean will not join in the journey. It will be for those who walk in that way. Do y'all realize when it says that way, where is it on the screen? There it is. It's capital. Capital W. It's not an accident. I didn't put that in there. That's how it's written. The way. This is referring to Jesus and who Jesus is. It continues on. In the way, wicked fools will not go about on it. Those who oppose Christ, those times that we oppose him, we will not walk in that way. We will not walk in his way. This claim is extremely controversial in the age of where diversity is king. We are claimed as Christians. People say, Christians, you're not diverse. And I want to say the church is diverse. If you look in this room, or you look at the church global, it's a diverse church. There's not one race. It's not one color. It's not one background. It's not just one who makes the most money. It's not the wealthy. It's not the poor. It's a diverse church with multiple languages, multiple cultures that make up the church. Yet, the way to Christ is not diverse. There is one way to heaven, one way to the Father, and that is through Jesus. I remember having this, I remember telling you guys this throughout the last 5 years, that as a kid, I was one of my three brothers that would actually sit down and watch TV shows or movies with my parents, especially like if my dad was watching John Wayne or something, I was probably the one more likely to sit and watch with them. My other brothers were like, John Wayne's on, turn around, leaving. Like they would walk out the room. Or my mom would come home from school and she would put her favorite show on, and it would be Oprah. That was her favorite show. And my brothers would walk in the room and they would hear that. They're like, oh, out of here, walking out. And my mom like, don't sit with me. And I'm like, all right. So I would sit with my mom and I would watch Oprah. And my other brothers were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm watching Oprah. And so we would watch Oprah on a regular basis. And I remember my mom loved Oprah. I think she still does. But I do remember this one episode where my mom was not too pleased with Oprah, because Oprah said, they're talking about spiritual enlightenment and spiritual things, and she made a claim that there are many paths to God. That's what she said. There's many paths to God. And I remember my mom clearly saying, Oprah, Oprah, that's not true. And she got up on the edge of her seat, and I'm like looking at her, I'm looking at Oprah, I'm like, this is new, because usually my mom is like, Oprah, she's so good, and she loved it. But this one, she was like, that's not true. She looks at me, she's like, Jesus is the only way to God. Jesus is the only way to heaven. You remember that, Dione? And I'm like, yes, Mom, because you mad at Oprah, you definitely get mad at me if I say it's not. And so she was saying like, no, that's not true, Oprah. That's not right. You're wrong right there. In the world, and many people, and many religions in our culture of diversity, they will say there's more than one way to God. In fact, according to the world, there says that there are millions of ways to God. That all paths, you ever heard this? That all paths lead to God? You ever heard that statement before? That is a lie. That is not the truth. All paths do not lead to God. In fact, there's only one. Check that out. There's only one path to eternal life. See, to claim that Jesus is the only way is to consider to make our culture a divide, to divide our culture. There's even people who say that Christianity, like those who are truly followers of Jesus Christ, are considered terrorists. If we are to go to a radical Muslim country, we will be claimed as terrorists. Us, not them. Us. Why? Because we believe there's one way, and there's only one correct way, and that correct way opposes everything that they hold true. Not just in that radical kind of thinking and religion, but in the world standard. We oppose it. We oppose it. We make it uncomfortable. We make people like it is offensive. The gospel is offensive. What Jesus says is offensive to most people's way of life. The early Christians, known to be followers of the way. And Paul says this in Acts 22:4. He says, I persecuted the followers of this way. And that's that capital W way that we saw back in Isaiah. Of the way. These people were so convinced that Jesus was who he said he was. They were so convinced that he lived the perfect life, had the perfect death, had the perfect resurrection, and was with the Father and interceding on their behalf that they would give their life to this way. And Paul said, I persecuted them. I threw them in jail, men and women both. I put them to death. Paul actually held people's jackets as Stephen was being stoned because of this way. This way is looked as a threat to this current society. Check it and understand this, that when people say, oh, I can't believe the church is being persecuted. I can't believe that we don't have the religious freedoms that we're supposed to have. I'm not surprised. It's only going to get worse, church. It's only going to get worse. As we march to a day of judgment and march to the day of end to come, the church will be persecuted like no other. Like, I'm not downplaying the Holocaust, but it's going to be totally different. It's going to be, the church will be stomped out, or try to at least. Jesus reigns. His church is not going anywhere. Amen. But it's only going to get worse. The persecution is only going to get hard. So when you claim to be a follower of the way, you claim to be a Christian, don't just say you're a Christian. Don't just say, yeah, I'm a Christian. Do you understand what that means? That I believe that I have found, or I am with, or I have the grace that has been poured upon me to be a part of the only way to heaven. So you have the way. I want us to understand that when Jesus says the way is the only way. But then you also have the false way. Everyone say the false way. Okay, we're going to try it again. Everybody say the false way. Good job. The false way is the opposite of the true way. If you have hot and cold, if you have good and evil, if you have chocolate chip cookies and all other cookies, like they're like the opposite. Like there's a good and there's a bad. There's a true and there's a false. And so there is the false way, and the false way is strictly to deceive you. Strictly to deceive you. They are deceivers. Proverbs 14:12 says, there is a way, all right? There is a way which seems right to man, but it ends is the way of death. There is a way that seems right to all of us, but it's not the way. It's a way. And so if I love it, I have a FCA friend of mine that is in Montgomery County, and we talk often, and he loves when Jehovah's Witnesses come to his church, to his door. He is excited. Like, he sees them in the neighborhood. He's like telling his wife, I got to stay home. Like, you go, because they're going to come knock on our door. And one of the things that Jehovah's Witnesses, like that puts us different from how their Bible and our Bible is not the same. There's one verse where one word is changed, and it goes from A to the. an a way. This is a way of teaching, or a way. It's like, no, 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 no. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the word. That little statement, if you say that God is a way, or I found a way to God, it ends in death. We have to be on the way, on Jesus' way. Jesus urges great care in us choosing the right path and choosing how we're going to live our life. Matthew 7:13-14 says, enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide, and the way is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter through it. For the gate is small, and the way is narrow that leads to life, and there are few who will find it. There are few who will find it. Church, as much as we may preach the gospel, as much as we may love on everybody we can love, everyone will not find the way. Everyone will not come to Christ. And I don't know if you've been in a situation where you're like, I've been praying for this person, and I pray that they come to Christ, and I pray that they end up finding the way, they find Jesus. There is a chance that they won't. And it says only a few actually find true salvation. Only a few actually find the way. See, the way ordinates itself in walking a new life, regardless of where the road takes you. The way makes you say, even though the road may take me here and there, I know I have a new life. And over the course of time, you will see a lot of roads. You will see a lot of things as you're on your way. Sometimes it may seem smooth and it may seem straight. Sometimes you may wander and walk around like in every direction. Sometimes it may be rocky and it may be rough. Sometimes you may go to a place where it's dangerous and scary. Sometimes it may be cold and you may feel like there's nothing there. It's a void land. Sometimes you'll go and the path is beautiful and you'll see things that you've never seen. You'll experience things that you've never experienced. And sometimes it may be crowded and frustrating. There may be people and there may be problems that come around, because where there's people, there's problems. And sometimes the path may be lonely. But know this, church, as long as you're on the path, God is with you. God is with you. You may say, I'm going this direction, and it's awesome, and it's beautiful, and I love it. And then sometimes you're like, I can't go. It's scary, and it's dangerous. And sometimes it may feel like you're wandering, and you don't know which way you're going. And then sometimes it may be crowded, and it's all these people. But know that God is with you. Don't step off the path. Don't come off the way. The same will go for Jesus. I love how people will think, hey, all right, Dial, I want this way. I want it because if I get this way, because God is perfect, I know that everything's going to turn out perfect. I know if I'm on the path, this is how it's going to lay out for me. I'm going to have the most amazing body that I ever thought I would have. Because I fall the way, I'm going to have the most beautiful, most handsome spouse, and they're going to be the most caring. I know because I'm walking in the way that my children are not going to cause me any headaches, and they're not going to cause any problems, and they're going to be perfect little children. I know if I follow Jesus, I'm going to have the perfect job. I'm not going to have any problems. I'm going to go on the best vacations. My bank account is going to be fat. Like, the way I'm in. That's not it. That's wrong. That's not true at all. That's not true. If we look at the life of Jesus, that's not it. You may think so. You may think that when Jesus gets announced, when he is baptized, we just did baptism this last Sunday. When Jesus is baptized and it announces that he is starting his ministry, you would think, I would think, at least me, I would think that it's about to go down. Like Jesus is about to wreck house. There's going to be fireworks coming through his hands. Like he's just going to be bringing manna back. Like it's going to be great. Like people are just going to be falling out and coming to Jesus and coming to God. As soon as he enters and the dove comes down on the Holy Spirit and you hear this voice from heaven that says, this is my son who I'm well pleased. You're like, that's all. If I said that statement to my kids, they're going to be like, here comes the gifts. Here comes the presents. Here comes the money into my account. Like, because my dad just said, he's well pleased with me. And the very next thing that happens to Jesus, God sends him to the wilderness. Like, what? I thought that was the way. Like, that's not the way. Not them just send him to the wilderness for 40 days. Like, all right. These 40 days, God may have him to go on a little journey. He ain't have no food. God's like, don't bring no food. Hold on, God, time out. Didn't you just say you pleased with me? Why would you send me somewhere where I feel like this is not going to be good? And then you don't send me no food? Like, what's up? Church, just because you are a follower of Christ doesn't mean your life is going to be easy. Just because you're a follower of Christ and you're a follower of the way doesn't mean it's going to be. Look at Jesus' life. It starts off 40 days in the wilderness, knowing that he would be tempted. Satan's like, I'm going to wait till 40 days and then tempt him at his weakest point. Y'all, the way is just not an easy path. This way is not just something of roses and sunshine and a pot of gold at the end of the path. Yes, there's reward. Yes, there's something beautiful that's in the way. But there's going to be some labor. God's going to send you some places that you don't want to go. He's going to tell you to do things that you do not want to do. And people are going to tell you things. He's going to tell you a false gospel. They're going to tell you need to add on to the gospel. They're going to tell you that if you would give this money, that God's going to give you this. People are going to tell you that you need to have this saint pray for you. Ask for this saint to pray. Saint so-and-so, ask for you to pray. Like, no dead person can pray for you. There's no adding to the gospel. It is the way, Jesus' life, death, and resurrection. And what are you going to do with it? That is the gospel. Nothing added to it, nothing to take away from it. Just because we fall away doesn't mean it's going to be easy. But that's what we end up doing. We want it to be easy. We want it to be, hey, I'm a Christian, when this should be going this way. That is not so. God says it a different way. God's direction is not an easy direction. It's not an easy path. The Bible says this, Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. See, when God is sending you some way and you're trying to lean on your understanding of why he's making this happen, he's like, you can't lean on your own understanding. It's not going to make sense to you. In all your ways, submit to him and he will make your path straight. When I left the church, when I was a youth pastor, and it was booming, y'all, like business was booming, like youth ministry was going great. We had families ministry rocking, and God's like, it's time for you to come off staff and go be a firefighter. What? That makes no sense. God, I'm like trying to wrap my mind around, okay, God, I'll come off staff. I'll go, I want to be a pastor somewhere else. I'll go look in Colorado. I'll go look in Florida. I'll go anywhere. I'm free to go. God's like, nope, you're going to be a firefighter. What? No. Lean not on your own understanding, Diane. Put all your trust in me, and I will make your path straight. And because of that, the life lessons I learned, and because of that, and the benefits that came, I went through 5 surgeries and all this pain and all this heartache, and in the fire service, yet it's led me here, which is a beautiful thing. If I try to understand it and wrap my mind around it, God's like, you're not going to understand it. Just follow what I'm telling you to do. Proverbs 16:9. In their hearts, humans plan their courses, but the Lord establishes their steps. That is good. Somebody needed that. The Lord has placed in your heart where you should go. The Lord has placed in your heart the desires of your heart. If you're a true follower of God, he's giving you his desires. He's giving you his dreams. He's giving you his purposes. And you're like, God, I'm ready to lead that out. He says, great, but walk like this and walk right here and don't walk right there and don't step right there. And don't move over there, and don't say that, and don't think about that. No. Keep thinking on that. He's ordering every step if you allow him to. That is not easy. The path may not be easy, but he's going to order your steps in it. Psalms 25:8 says this, good and upright is the Lord. Therefore, he instructs sinners in his way. Because the God is good, y'all, because God is upright, he instructs us because we are the sinners. We are saved by grace, but we have a sin nature. We want to do wrong. We don't want to do good. He says, because I am good, I instruct your paths, and I will make them straight. Psalms 32:8 says, I will instruct you, and I will teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. This is a Father that loves us. This is a Father that is good. This is a Father that's upright. I will teach you. I will direct your path. You may not understand it, but I will do it, and I will be in it. Jesus is the way to God. Jesus is the way to heaven, and Jesus is the way to eternal life. And we know that he's the way, and we know that there's a false way. People will tell us different things in the world. Societies will tell us there's many ways, but Jesus says there is only one way. There is only one gospel. There is only one truth. There's only one life. We're going to talk about those in the next few weeks. But if there is a good way, if there's no way, and they have the false way, the last way, or there's two more ways we're going to talk about, but one of them is my way. Everybody say my way. It made me think of the Usher song, like back in the day. I did it my. I'm not gonna talk about it. But there's a song called "My Way." My way. You got God's way. We know. A lot of us will rest assured, like, yes, God, Jesus is the way to heaven. That is the way. We're like good with that, and we're like, okay, there is a false way, false religions, even a false gospel, but then there's my way, and that is the true struggle. Some of us like, I'm not going to fall into the trap of the world, or we can see it coming, or we can feel it like, I don't know. But then there's our way. There's my way. And Isaiah 55 says this. It says, seek the Lord while you can find him. Call on him now while he is near. Let the wicked change their ways and banish the very thought of doing wrong. Let them turn to the Lord that he may have mercy on them. Yes, turn to our God, for he will forgive generously. And this is God's quoting here. God in quote says, my thoughts are nothing like your thoughts, say the Lord. And my ways are far beyond anything you could imagine. For just as heaven is higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways. And so are my thoughts higher than your thoughts. You can't even comprehend my thoughts. You can't even comprehend my ways. So why would you try to make my way and my way your thoughts and my thoughts? You can't even fathom them. I will bust your little brain open. Like, you can't even hold it all into your comprehension. 2 Chronicles 7:14. Then if my people will call upon my name and humble themselves and pray and turn from their what? Wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven and forgive their sins and restore their land. I will hear their land. Wicked ways. Church, all of our ways, all of them are wicked. Every single one. You're like, Down, you don't even know me. Don't judge me. Your way is wicked. It's wrong. It's not right. Either it's God's way or not. There's no like a little bit. I love when people's like, yeah, I'm kind of like a Christian. What? What do you mean you kind of a Christian? Oh, I'm kind of doing this. Oh, are you doing it or not doing it? Like, you know that like get like the whole thing about sit on the pot, like use the bathroom or get off of it. Like the whole, I'm not going to say the word, but yeah, like either you're doing it or not doing it. It says in Revelation, either hot or cold, or I spew you out my mouth. There's no like dancing in it. Either you're going to fully do it God's way or you're not. There's no wiggle room. Our ways are wrong. Our ways are broken. Our ways are wicked. And Jesus says, my way is right, but it might be hard. Strike that. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but it's going to be a beautiful result at the end. There is abundant life. I'm going to close with this. I'm going to close with this illustration that Jesus is showing to his disciples. I think this just marries up beautifully when it talks about our way and God's way, our way and Jesus' way. We're going to look at John 22. John 22, and guess what? It's not going to be on the screen. I purposely didn't put it on the screen. So we got those Bibles, and I hear people complain and say, oh, John 21, because there's no 22. John 21, see, I just told you a false gospel because there's no John 22. John 21, you're going to look in your Bible or look on your device. It's not going to be on your screen. If you don't own a Bible, download it, or if you need me to buy you one, we'll buy you one. But John 22 is going to illustrate this 21. See, y'all, thank you, because I'm being a false teacher up here. John 20:21 illustrates this my way or God's way. This is awesome. So here we go. It says, so after appearing again to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee, And then he goes to the disciples. We're going to skip down to verse 3. Verse 3 says, I'm going to go fishing. Simon Peter basically told his boys, and they said, we're going to go with you. So they went out they went out on the boat and began to fish, but that night they caught nothing. So that's what's going on here. Jesus has resurrected, and he has appeared to them many times during this time after his resurrection. After the 3 days he's resurrected, he's shown up to them many times. And for the last 3 years, these dudes have walked with Jesus. 11 of them, because one of them is 12, but one of them is gone now. So 11 of them have walked with him, and now they're in this state of confusion. They're like, what is going on? Like, Jesus lived and he died and he's here and he's talking all this stuff and it doesn't really make sense. And I've been following him for 3 years. And then they're like, you know what? They're just sitting by the sea together. I imagine this picture in my head. Like, they're just sitting there like contemplating, like, what the heck is going on? And then Peter just says, I'm going to go fishing. And they look at him like, all right, bet. And they get up and they're like, let's go fishing. Because that's what they knew. They went back to what they knew. They went back to what they knew was comfortable. This way of walking with Jesus for 3 years, like, ended up in this whole confusion and me feeling left. I have this whole thing going on, and Peter denounced them, and like the disciples ran away, and Jesus told them to take care of his mother. Like, somebody should be with his mom, but they're not. They're with him. They're all like, they're not doing what Jesus really told them to do, and they're confused. And he's like, I'm just going to go back to doing what I used to do. Does that not sound familiar? Does that not resonate with anybody? Where God has said, this is how you are to live. This is what you are to do. And you've been doing it, and it hasn't really worked out. It's worked out some, it hasn't worked out, and then you get to this point of confusion. You get this point of being tired. You get this point of like, I don't know. You're like, I'm just going back to doing what I used to do. Like, bump this. Just go back to what I know. This is exactly where the disciples are. And they just go back to doing what they know. And what they know wasn't necessarily bad for themselves, but this is not what God told them to do. This is not what God had for them to do. And you know what happened? They got nothing. Goose egg. Nothing. Church, how many times y'all been doing your own way and you got no results? Nothing. Empty. You're like, come on. Nothing. All night? You've been fishing all night. Not like you went out like at lunchtime, you went fishing and you're like, catch anything? Nah, I didn't catch no bites. You were out there all night and you call yourself a fisherman? What kind of fisherman are you? How many times in our lives where we're like, I ain't got no results. I've been doing it this way and it's just coming up empty. It's just coming up empty. And you're like, something's got to change, but I'm just going to go back and keep doing it the way I know how to do it. Same results. Empty. God's like, I love that next verse. I love it where so early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not recognize that it was Jesus. And he called out to them, friends, have you caught any fish? Y'all got God be doing that to y'all? He be saying it. He be like, how's it going doing it your way, Dione? How's it going? Going good? No? Caught any fish? And I can just, like, you ever been doing something and you're not getting the results and then you got somebody heckling you from the side? Like, sometimes, spouses can do that. When your spouse knows the right way to doing it, but you're really determined to do it your way, and then they walk up on you and be like, so how's it going? And you're like, if they don't get you, if you don't, it's going good. It's going good. I'm almost figured it out. You want these directions? I can help you. No, I got it. You're just like steaming. That's how I feel the disciples are. But like, we ain't caught nothing. Like, shut up. Like, leave me alone. Like, just go. Jesus says, friends. Hey, friends. How you doing? Holy Spirit be doing that to us all the time. How's it going? How's it doing it your way? Going well? Getting any results? Rhetorical question. Jesus already knew. They said, no. Yell back. No. God's saying the same thing to us. If you're doing it your own way, you're not going to get the results that you should have. No. He said, throw your nets on the right side of the boat, and you will find some. Throw your nets on the right side. I found this like in a little wordplay. If you do it my way, it's the right side. You do it what I say, it's the right way. Go on the right side of the boat. And they do it. They throw it on the right side of the boat. It continues on. And when they did it, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. Church, if you do it God's way, you will have results, and results you would never even think that you could have if you do it his way. And guess what? It was still hard. They needed help to pull in the nets. It was still difficult. It wasn't like the fish just jumped in the boat. They filled the net and they had to pull it up. They couldn't pull it by themselves. You're going to need some help to help you get through this life that God has called you to go and the way he's called you to walk. It's going to cause you to go through some pain. It's going to cause you to get some muscles. It's going to cause you to sweat. It's going to cause you to be like, God, what are you doing? This is awesome, but this is hard at the same time. Come on, church. God's way is better than your way. God's way is better. Sometimes you're going to have to lean and you're going to have to say, I need some help. God has called me to do this, but this way he's telling me to do it is very difficult. Help me pull in these results. Help me get to what I need to get. Couldn't do it by yourself either. I love it. I love it. So one of the disciples says, it's the Lord. No, duh. Like, only God can do that. Like, and you can say, God did this. That it's Jesus. It's Jesus. Do you see the results? That was hard. I wouldn't have done it that way. I would just let him like one at a time. Like, can we just get these in one at a time? He's like, no, here's all of it. And this year, my verse, my word has been increased. My word for the year has been increased, and it has been in my spirit, and has been on my mind, my heart, that I want to live out of the increase of God in my life. And I cannot get any increase if I don't do it God's way. There will be no increase. There will be decrease. I must decrease myself, and he must increase in my life. He must increase in how I study the scripture, increase in meditating on the word, increase in me memorizing scripture, increase in me being a husband, being a father, increase in my wellness and my fitness, increase in how I carry myself, increase in my empathy. And it all starts with his way. The Bible, like I've heard it once, one pastor put it this way. He said that the way, I'm going to put this on the, I'm going to put this on the ground. This is the way. This is how narrow it is. You're like, well, I'm just going to get one of those big family Bibles so I can be like this wide, so I can like at least get a little wiggle room. He's like, no, stack the Bibles and walk down them, and that's how narrow your path is. God's way. Walk in that word. Walk in Jesus. And when you do that, the results are awesome. But I can't live out of the increase that the disciples saw. I can't live out of that if I'm not in the way. If I get out of my way and stay in his way, then the increase comes. Jesus is the way, church. All right, it keeps going on. It gets better. It gets going on. I love this. I love this. So the other disciples followed the one. John basically jumped out the boat. So they followed him. They dragged the fish in, and they followed him to the shore, which is about 100 yards off. Verse 9, and when they landed, they saw fire burning coals and a fish sitting on it with some bread. Y'all, Jesus is taking care of them. Like, God, he made breakfast for them. Like, even though they were not doing what he told them to do, even though they had gone back to their own way, he says, I'm going to make you fisher of men, yet y'all went back to be fishermen. They got to shore. There's breakfast. There's a fire. God is going to take care of you. God is going to have a warm place for you. God is going to provide food for you. He is the bread of life. Like Jesus is still he prepared a table for them. Doesn't it say that in Psalm 23? I prepare a table before my enemies. There's no enemies there, but he still prepared a table for them, which is awesome. And I think in my own mind that if they had decided not to do it and not to provide or not to do what God told them to go on the right side of the boat, and they said, get out of here, strange man on the shore who's heckling us, I think in my head, this is not biblical, this is just me talking, that he would be like, all right, put the fire out. All right, I guess you don't want none. I'll go to somebody else. We're not promised that God's going to keep calling us. There's no promise of that. He will never leave you, but he doesn't say, I'm going to keep calling you and calling you and calling you and telling you what to do, tell you what to do, tell you what to do, tell you. He says, eventually, I just give them over to their own way. Church, people ask me, Down, how is it that you can hear from the Lord and you decided not to play football, you decided to be fine? Like, you just say, and you say, God said, so I did. I'm like, I don't want him to stop calling me. I don't want him to stop telling me which way to go. Because if I just keep going my own way, he's going to say, go your own way. I'll be here when you're ready. Well, how long that's going to take? How far are you going to, like a prodigal son, you're going to be the pigs and eating filth and laying with the pigs before you realize I come to my senses? I've been gone too long. No, I don't want that. God say, do, I'm like, do. And when I don't do, someone says, Donald, you ain't doing what God told you to do. You're right. Like, I don't want him to stop calling my name because I want him to prepare a table for me. I want him to cook breakfast. I love how they didn't even ask, where did he get them fish from? Like, hey, he ain't got no fishing pole. Like, how? I was like, something. Jesus, you just pull them out your pocket. You got fish and bread and everything already ready for them. Like, where did he get that from? Anyway, so he goes on. He prepares a table for them. And the last thing, which is even better, Jesus says in verse 10, Jesus says, bring some of the fish you have caught. So Simon Peter climbs back in the boat and drags the net ashore, full of large fish, 153 of them to be exact. But there were so many that it didn't tear their nets. God has given us a system. God has given us things in our lives that he's not going to give us too much. It's going to break down what he's given us. You can't say, I'm going to have all this abundance, yet it's going to destroy my marriage. I can't say I'm going to have all this abundance and have all this life is going to destroy how me being a parent. I'm going to have all this abundance and all this life is going to destroy the church. It's not going to tear the church apart. It's not going to tear your marriage apart. That's not God's way. That's a beautiful illustration of that. And the second is, even though I've already prepared, bring some of your increase. Come, bring it so we all can take part. Come bring it. And that's what God says, bring what I've given you. Bring some of the increase that I've given you. Yet I already laid out to you. We could live off of, all of us could live off more, just probably half of what we have. Half the food in our refrigerator, half the clothes we have, half of everything we have besides probably the money because we got to pay for the house we got. But a lot of the stuff we have, we probably could live on half of it. And God's provided that for us. He says, now bring the increase. Bring the extra. You already had enough for them. Bring the extra. Church, when God is blessing you and you're doing it his way and you can see it, he's like, bring it. Let us all partake in it. Y'all didn't see it on a coffee table? There's a coffee table outside and there's fruit, there's vegetables on there. You can debate if it's a fruit or vegetable, but there's some items from the garden, fruit or vegetable from the garden, from Luke, who's out serving at the table. He brought it from his garden. He had an increase. And he says, instead of me hoarding it for myself, let me bring it to the church and y'all can take part. Because Luke did the garden the right way. And it had this bountiful harvest. And he didn't hoard it for himself. He's like, I'm going to bring it to church for you to share. So it's really out there for you to have. I'm not making an illustration. That's really out there. God says the same thing in our lives. In this illustration, like if we miss it, we can just read him like, oh, that was cool, part of the story, 153 fish. Jesus says, bring some of that fish so we can eat it too. You know, when you do God's way, he'll increase. It'll be hard. Like, trust me, it's not going to be easy. The fish did not jump in the boat. The blessings, all the blessings you get are not always just going to just rain down in your life. Sometimes it's going to cause some sweat. Sometimes it's going to cause your back to hurt. Sometimes it's going to cause you to be like, I don't know if I can do it. And that's when you say, hey, church, hey, friend, hey, person, hey, pastor, hey, I need some help. Help me stay in this. Help me stay in this weight of what God is blessing me with. Therefore, when I do that and I bring in the harvest, I can bring it back and bless others. If you stay in the way. Not in the way of what God's doing, but you stay in Christ. You stay in him. Let this verse, John 14:6, resonate in who you are. Next week, we get to talk about the light. And because of this, or we talk about he's the way, the truth. Sorry, we're going to talk about the truth. He is the way, and that is the truth, and that truth brings life. Y'all see how that works? We're going to talk about that next week. But we're going to partake in this way, in communion. This way that God has established his church and says, this is how you recognize who I am. The worship team's going to come up. We're going to play while we have communion. But Jesus says on the night that he before he was going to be crucified and taken and arrested. He says to his disciples, this is my body, which is broken for you. They took some bread and he broke it. He says, eat this bread in remembrance of what I'm going to do for you. And he took a cup and he passed it around. They drank from the cup and he says, drink this cup in remembrance of the blood I'm going to shed for you. And they probably didn't really get it, understand it. And they're like, your body's not going to be broken. There's no blood's going to be shed. But Jesus says, no, eat this because my body will be broken for you. Drink this because my blood will be shed for you. Do this in remembrance of me. So as a church, we do this in remembrance of what Jesus did. Over 2,000 years ago, he died on the cross for our sins. And his blood was shed for us. His body was broken for us. And he was resurrected 3 days later. He's interceding on our behalf right now. So we do this in remembering who God is. So the cup's going to come, the tray's going to come, it's have a piece of bread in it, and it's going to have a cup with juice in it. Take it in remembrance of God. This is for you to take for yourself. You can do it as a couple. You can do it as a family, by yourself. We don't say, now everybody do it at one time, and like you do it as you see fit. But as we play the song, let this resonate in you. God, I am signing up to follow the way. Every time I take communion, I'm in. I'm in all the way. I'm stepping in your word, stepping in your way, walking in your way. Let this communion be that for you. Let us pray. God, again, we thank you. We thank you for your word. We thank you that we can see insight from it. We thank you that we're able to challenge us, God, and we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your patience. We thank you for your willingness to wait on us, your willingness to just lay down your life for us, God. And we thank you for sending Jesus Christ. And Jesus saying, not my will be done, but your will be done, Father. Not my way be done, Lord, but your way be done. Jesus, thank you for choosing the cross. Thank you for walking that hard path. Thank you for dying for my sins. And God, we take this communion time in remembrance the sacrifice you made, Father, the sacrifice you made, Jesus, so that we may have eternal life. We don't take this lightly. We take this reverently, understanding who you are, who you've called us to be. Be with us now. Meet with us during this time. In Jesus' name, amen.